we did it. And by the time you reach adulthood, you have no idea whether the things that are values to you are yours or somebody else's. And promise you, when you are an adult and you don't know what your values are, who you are, and why you make choices, you become lost very, very quickly. And it starts right now. And if I can get you guys to understand that, by the time you're adults, you're going to be incredible. You're just going to own life every single day if you can do that. So let's talk a little bit about more identity. In the 15th century, there was a group of Buddhist monks at a monastery who made a 9-foot tall, solid gold Buddha statue. 9 feet tall, solid gold. Can you imagine that? A 9-foot tall, solid gold statue. And in the 15th century, a Burmese army was coming to take it and annihilate them. So they covered the statue in clay and mud, head to toe. And so when the Burmese army came, the only thing that they saw was a clay Buddha statue, and they just passed right by it. Dime a dozen at that time, right? So they passed right by it. Now, years and years and years passed until a group of explorers found it in 1957 and took it back to a museum. And after being in a museum, not in the natural elements, it began to crack and chip. And underneath that clay Buddha statue, the gold started to shine forth. So let me ask you this. Every one of you inside has a golden statue, the pure form of yourself. And after years of belittling and comments and trauma and trials and defeat and everything that we go through in life, each one puts clay on top of us until eventually that beautiful version of who we are gets so covered up that we don't let anyone see it anymore. So what would it take for you to start to chip away that clay? Quit being so hard or guarded or tough all the time. Earlier, when Brandon was talking, he talked about why we put that mask on. And the reason a lot of people said was because we're angry. That's what happens. And it is. When we cover up that, it makes us angry because we can't be that true version of us. So how do we do it? If you guys want to be that true version and you want to be yourself and you want to love yourself every single day that you look in the mirror, truly love yourself, how do you do that?
Do you love yourself? Because if you understand the value of self-love, you'll never be friends with those type of people. Most of the people out here are running around empty. They have no sense of self. No sense of self-love. Self-love has nothing to do with celebrity, money, materialistic things, and all the things that your negative mind could probably go to. It has nothing to do with self-love. It has nothing to do with books. Nothing to do with cars and any of the superficial things that one would assume that could make you love yourself even more. It's a matter of value. It's a matter of you saying, I don't have to be around these people in these type of environments and situations in order for me to finally see the value in myself. I love me independent of you loving me. I believe in me. I know my self-worth. I am here and I have a purpose. There is no value.
Okay. Every one of you, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what your home life looks like, no matter what friends you have or don't have, every one of you matters. Every one of you has worth. And the challenge is seeing it, even if nobody else does. Because in order to love other people, you have to love yourself first. In order to love yourself, you have to know yourself. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Okay, it's fundamental to life. And I'll tell you a story about how I came to find it. So for me, it's going to sound a little weird, right? My high school experience was not like everybody else's. And I know that, okay? To give you an idea of this, I want you to think of the most cliche high school movie you can. And I was that quarterback, okay? I played football all the way from when I was a kid, so by the time I got to high school, I was 6'1", 170. I ran a 4.3 40, which if you don't know how fast it is, it's fast, okay? I had a 40-inch vertical. My future was football. And high school for me was my domain. To give you an idea of how much it was, you have people here from all over the county, correct? Yeah? District. Okay, thank you. So, any of you planning to go to prom? Yeah? How many times can you go to prom? One time? Twice? Junior, senior? What if you're asked by a junior or senior when you're a freshman or sophomore? You can go? So potentially 4? You know how many times I went to prom? All right, let's do this. I got how about this? Focus. How many times did I go to prom? I need the right number.
0.
How many? 5?
0.
0?
6.
3? 6? 1?
7.
Who said 9? 9. I went to prom 9 times. 9 times. 4 times at my own school and 5 times at other schools. Okay? I ruled my county. Everybody knew me. And I know how that sounds, but it did, okay? Yeah, a lot of money too. So, sophomore year, let me tell you this, okay? Sophomore year of high school, I'm in my element. I'm loving it, right? Freshman year is over. I killed it freshman year. Sophomore year's coming, and I finished that, and I'm 16 years old, and my family at the time owned a lawn care and landscaping company. So I started working when I was 12 years old, mowing lawns with my dad and doing landscaping. That's just what we did in the summer. So one morning, after an early morning football workout, I go help my dad to go load up the equipment for the day to go mow some lawns. That morning in particular, as my dad was pulling the trailer out of the storage unit on the way out, I stepped back so I could get out of the way, and when I did, I slipped on sandbags. And I ended up falling on the wheels of the trailer as it pulled me out of the storage unit. My head was above the wheels, and my chest was pinned to the wheels, and my back on the wall as it pulled me out. And after it did, I dropped. Instantly. Ah! My dad gets out of the truck. What happened? What happened? Right? And I said, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. He calls the ambulance, and the ambulance comes. Now, have you ever ridden in an ambulance? They are not comfortable. So here I am later finding out that I have a broken back, and I'm riding in this bumpy ambulance all the way there, right? It wasn't pleasant. So I get to the hospital, and they run every test you can imagine. CAT scan, CT, MRI, X-ray, you name it, they ran it, okay? The verdict is that I was paralyzed from the waist down. I remember laying on a cold metal table, seeing doctors and nurses above me, and then all I remember is it's black. And I wake up the next morning, and I'm sitting in bed, and I see people around me, and I go, all right, what happened? Right? And I notice at that moment that I can't feel my legs. And I'm like, maybe they just fell asleep. I've been laying for too long. So I try to wiggle my toes. I try to move them. Nothing. It's dead. So doctors tell me that when I had my injury, the brick pressed up against my spine, and it ended up shattering my entire spine from my armpits down to my hips. with the L5, where my hips are, bursting into my spinal column, paralyzing me. Now, first few days, sure, I had people visit. Oh man, we're so sorry to hear what happened. Hope you get okay. How are things going? Now the reality, any of you ever been through a tragedy in your life that rocked you to the core? The next few days after, if you get support, that's when you get support. The loneliest time in a person's life after a trial is not immediately after. It's when life turns back to normal for everybody else, but not for you. That's when it's lonely. So here I'm in the hospital bed, right? And I spent the next 6 months in the hospital. I had to go through physical therapy, learn how to walk again, doctors, surgeries, you name it. I missed my entire junior year of high school because of that. So I get home from the hospital, right? And I start to go through it. And then I went through a year of PTSD treatment and did therapy for that, right? Now, obviously you can see that's not how the story ends, right? But we'll get there right quick. So, I just introduced to you that I had the world at my fingertips prior to, right? During that year that I missed of my junior year, any idea how many people came to visit me? Okay. 3. 3 people. You think, right? But 3 out of 9 proms. Where were those girls? Why'd they leave me then, right? 3 people. And those 3 people are my best friends to this day still, because in the moment, it wasn't my label. It wasn't what I could give them. It wasn't how popular I was. They saw me as a person, right? An individual. Now, paralysis is one thing, but then what came after was the hardest part. Because when your entire identity is wrapped up in the status socially of what people think of you, and it's immediately taken, I had no idea who I was anymore. It was gone instantly. The popular, charismatic, amazing person that I thought I was instantly taken away because I thought my value was taken. So then after that comes the phone calls. Hey, Mr. Meyer, this is Coach so-and-so. Yeah, I heard about your accident. Your coach called us. Sorry to hear about that. Unfortunately, your scholarship was dependent on you to be able to play football. And if you can't do that, we can't really offer you a scholarship, and you don't have the grades for an academic scholarship. Oh, okay. Thanks, Coach. Let us know if it changes. All right. Okay. Thanks. So, Arizona State, Colorado State, Nebraska, Texas, Cal, Stanford. One by one. Now, I told you football was my thing, right? It was my future. And I didn't care how my grades looked or how I performed in the classroom as long as I got that scholarship until it was gone. So what do you do when the thing that you're banking on the most for your future gets taken from you? Remember, if we go back to our chart, how much of our percentage of happiness is dictated by our environment and choice? 10% environment and 40% choice, right? So now, my popularity's gone, my legs are gone, my future's gone, and everything that I knew about myself and who I was is now gone too. And it got dark. Laying in a bed in the front room of my house, not able to move, my mom having to wake up at 2 a.m. and carry me to the toilet because I couldn't get there myself. And it got dark. And I'm sure some of you can relate to what it feels like when you get dark and hopeless and lost. You start to wonder if it's worth going on anymore. That's why that hope matters so much. Because no matter how dark it gets, hope is always there. And it's there by the people around you, okay? Now, obviously, that's not how it ends. I spent a lot of work to get back to it and had a lot of miracle surgeries and things show up in order to get me to this point. And believe it or not, I actually went on to play D1 volleyball afterwards until my body couldn't take it anymore. And then I quit. But I still got there, which is what my goal was. I just wanted to get there. Okay, there will be things in life that you guys go through that you have no control over. You don't know what to do, and it will smack you in the face with no warning. And when it does, who is with you is going to help carry you through. Okay? For me, that was my mom. Like I said, I grew up, my biological dad was an alcoholic. My mom left him when I was 1.5, so I was raised by a single mom for a majority of my life until she married my stepdad in my teenage years. It was me and my mom. And my mom was the one who took me to the appointments and the doctor visits and the shots and the medications, everything. When doctors just say, hey man, like I think you're just trying to get drugs. Like I don't think you're in pain, and trying to deal with that. My mom was the one that was there. Even if you think you are alone, you are not. I promise you, you are not. I remember as a teen thinking the same thing that maybe some of you think. The teachers, the administrators, they care because they have to care, but they don't really care. Wrong. They care. They care a lot. And I promise you, if anything you are going through, if you have nobody, you have them. You have them. Okay, well, let's go back for a minute to who you are. Because for me in this moment, I lost who I was. Everything about who I was. Until I had an opportunity to realize that the person that I was gone. But now I get to decide who I want to be, how I want to live, the actions I want to take, the values I want to live by. I got to live my ideal self and become that version because I had nothing less to do. It was either give up and die or become that person. And I became that person. Same with you. You may face a choice where you go, you know what, I feel like giving up. I don't know a way out of this. I don't know what my options are. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to see hope in this at all. But if you can find a way, no matter what it is, if you have options, you have hope. If you have options, you have a way out.